Hi, everybody. I'm Captain Cornelius. My job is to talk with kids just like you and tell you all about corn, one of the most important things raised by farmers in America. And today, you're going to learn about one of the most important things farmers do with that corn. Turn it into hamburgers and steaks and pork chops and fried chicken, too. No, turning corn into meat isn't magic. It's what farmers do every single day. But before I give away too much, let's get started with our story and watch Billy and Amy learn why a cornfield could very well be called a food factory.
Lunch is ready.
Boy, Dad, the grocery store where you get our food sure makes great meat.
Yeah, they're the best meat makers in the whole world. They make pretty good milk, too.
Well, kids, we do buy our meat at the store, but that's not where it's made. Like the chicken, the corn, and the milk, and everything else you see on the table.
You mean the meat and the milk are made somewhere else?
Yep, and as a matter of fact, it all starts right there.
You're saying that those corn plants grow up into hamburgers?
And fried chicken and eggs?
Well, and milk too, but there's more to it than that.
Are you sure that's how it works?
I tell you what, I've got to go to the office for a couple hours, but if your mom has time, she can take you and show you.
Yeah, that'd be great, all right.
Please, Mom.
Well, all right, but let's finish up lunch first.
I'll call Brent and see if he can show you around his farm. You just have to promise me one thing, that as soon as you get back, you got to tell me everything you learned. Deal?
Deal.
Hey guys, more pork chops and deviled eggs for everyone.
Okay, right.
A little more food, can't we? Oh, thank you.
Anytime.
Sit on down.
I bet you kids didn't realize that farming is America's biggest business.
Bigger than cars and trucks?
Bigger than computers?
Yes, bigger than any business. And corn producers are one of the most important parts. American farmers plant over 70 million acres of corn each year. On this acreage, they will raise between 8 to 9 billion bushels of corn. That's enough corn to fill 9 million tractor trailers and is 45% of the entire world output of corn. Over 2 billion bushels of that corn gets loaded onto ships to be sold overseas, feeding people in other countries. Some of that corn gets made into industrial products. For example, over 400 million bushels of corn are used to make ethanol. Ethanol is a fuel that is blended with gasoline to make our cars not pollute the air so badly. But most of the corn, over 60% of each year's production, goes to feeding livestock. And that's what we're going to see right now.
Where are we?
Well, we're at Mr. Brent Porteous's farm.
Is this where they make the meat and milk?
Well, sort of, but why don't we let Mr. Porteous tell us about that?
So, okay, kids, we could go over the barn and we'll take a look.
Boy, I can't wait to tell Dad about this place.
Hey, where you all been?
Dad, you won't believe it.
I hope you learned where all that stuff in the grocery store comes from.
Vitamins and minerals in
He showed us cattle that were getting ready to go to market soon, but he has to make sure they're as healthy as possible.
To do that, he feeds them corn.
Corn? Well, what makes corn so good?
First of all, it's high in protein, and it's got lots of energy and nutrients.
Hey, that sounds like what Mom says when she tells us why certain foods are good for us.
That's what Brent told us. It's sort of like taking care of kids. They need to eat well to be healthy.
They may be like kids, but I ain't seen any of them doing homework.
Then Brent said we should go see how pigs are raised, so off we went.
We raise 1,050 acres of corn on our farm. The corn is harvested in the fall and delivered to the grain bins you see up there. And then during the winter time, it is ground and fed to the hogs.
It was really nice and cool in their barn.
And clean, too.
Mr. Waters explained that it has to be. He keeps it cooled in the summer and heated in the winter so his pigs stay comfortable.
How do they keep the pigs from getting hurt or sick?
They put them in specially designed holders called pens. These pens give the pigs enough room to move around, but still keep them from getting hurt.
Well, if you can believe it, Mr. Waters suggested that we go to the Duncan family dairy farms and see where milk comes from.
And did you?
Yep.
Mr. Duncan told us that he would show us what happened to the milk before it goes into the cartons that we bring home from the store.
This calf is 7 days old. She weighs right at 100 pounds when she was born. In 2 months' time, she will double her weight. But in a time of 2 months' time, she will weigh 200 pounds. At that time, we wean her from the milk.
First, he showed us how they hook the cows up to get the milk.
They have a machine that does what people used to do by hand.
But doesn't that machine hurt the cows?
Nope. Mr. Duncan told us that the cows don't mind.
First, he said he would never be cruel to the animals. And second, he said that if the animals don't feel safe and protected,
They won't produce as much milk or meat.
And finally, he showed the kids where all the milk was stored before it was picked up to be processed and packaged.
he even let us taste some right there.
It was great.
He explained that it was perfectly safe to drink, it just hadn't been packaged yet.
Wow, that sounds like you really learned a lot.
Ha, but we're not finished yet.
Mr. Duncan told us that there was a hatchery on our way home.
That's a place where little chickens are raised.
Do these little chickens eat your corn too?
They sure do.
But I don't get it. You never see any cows or chickens in the store. And I haven't heard you tell me you saw any hamburgers or meat out on the farms.
Well, all of the farmers explained that's because there's another stop between when the animals leave their farm and get to your grocery store.
You see, they take them by truck to the processor, and that's the next to the last step.
Well, what's the last step?
The meat goes from the processor to the grocery store, and then you take it home.
Why don't you tell Dad what else you learned?
We learned that the average American farmer raises enough food to feed 128 people.
And we learned that the average American eats 63 pounds of beef, 46 pounds of pork, 63 pounds of poultry products, and they drink 570 pounds of milk every year.
That's a lot of food.
It sure is, and that's why we have to raise a lot of corn every year.
To feed the animals that make our food.
So what's the final lesson you learned today?
Meat doesn't come from a grocery store. That's just where they sell it. It really comes from a farm, and it takes a whole lot of farmers to raise all that corn we need to feed the animals.
And I learned that farmers have to take real good care of those animals so they can grow up healthy.
And lots of people get their jobs from helping farmers raise, ship, and sell our food.
And I learned that learning all about our food has made me hungry.
Okay. I guess a snack is in order. How about some ice cream?
That sounds great.
But we'll have to go to the store.
Yeah, but the ice cream didn't come from there.
I know. It came from a cow that ate some corn.
There you have it, the Food Factory. All the farmers I work with who raise corn hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about the farmers and their animals and the corn they feed them. So now, the next time someone asks you where your food comes from, you can tell them it all starts in a field of corn.